GearNetwork.com.
The following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
Here we go. Hey, everything on three. Number three. Win on one. Oh, win on three. 1, 2, 3. Win. Hey, I'm mixed up in that. Eyes on three. Everything on 3 and 1. Everything.
You are now listening to the Fantasy Football Bros Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Fantasy Football Bros Podcast. I'm your boy, Chaz, and I got with me, as per always, Mr. Jay Coleman. How you doing, buddy?
What's up?
You ready to rock and roll today?
Oh, I'm ready to rock.
I got a present for you.
What's that?
Okay, so this is for you. It's been a long day. Did you have a long day today, Jay?
Yeah, I did.
Give him a play-by-play. What's going on? Okay, go to the fridge.
He's turn around. Bush apple.
Oh, well, Bush apple. Let's crack it for the homies. Oh, hell yeah, Bush. These are so good.
They're expensive as fuck, too.
For those of you that never have it, yes, it's Bush Light Apple, but it's literally it doesn't taste like a hard cider, but it does.
Sort of.
It's weird.
It's like
but
it's like a apple cider beer.
But it also doesn't taste like a beer, but it does.
Yes.
It's a nice marriage of the two. So I figured you would enjoy that little surprise. So here, clink. Cheers to that. Hopefully that came through. All right, we took a week off. It's the off season. We're allowed to do that. You know, we're in our OTAs right now. Feeling better if anyone's concerned. Thank you. So today we're breaking down the Western divisions of the NFL, the NFC West, the AFC West. And why did I start with the NFC West, Jay? Any idea?
Super Bowl winners?
Super Bowl champions, right? It's a good place to start. Defending Super Bowl champions. The Butch, baby. All right, so I know we always do our little diatribe intro, and we've been shitting on Deshaun Watson's, but obviously there's still more to shit on, but we figure we're just going to wait until everything kind of clears with his suspension, which is obviously coming for that. But we did want to recognize the passing of a couple people from the Baltimore Ravens family. We lost their current linebacker, Jalen Ferguson, at 26, which is very sad.
Yes.
Very sad. And then former Super Bowl champion, Tony Saragusa, the Goose.
A legend.
The legend. I mean, everybody loves the Goose. So, they're very sad when I seen that. Both of those. I mean, you know, the 55-year-old man is one thing, or 56-year-old man is one thing, but the 26-year-old, that's terrible.
Yeah.
That's terrible. So, you know, thoughts and prayers to them and everybody in their organization and family, and a couple of Bills fans, to all you Ravens fans out there, much love and respect, and to all of, you know, their friends, family, all your friends and family, all their teammates, because it's much needed. So, another Buffalo connection we need to bring up and talk about is the recent retirement of one Buffalo native, Robert Gronkowski. Dude's retired from the NFL for the second time. Second time he's retired from the NFL to, I don't know, become a wrestler or make movies or annoying commercials.
Or sit on his couch and get fat.
Or do the pre-shows.
Or that.
What week is he back?
He's back before playoffs.
I think so, too. I really do think so. Am I recommending people to go out and draft Rob Gronkowski? No. But, just keep it in mind because, he is 32, 33, somewhere around there, something like that. So he's probably it's really hot and muggy here in Tampa Bay. I don't feel like going out there running with all these rookies. I'm going to retire. And then come week 12, Brady's like, come on, dude. We're 9-4. We need you. Come, let's go. And he'll be like, all right.
Yeah. He's for hire now in his career. He's like, nah.
Well, I still think, though, if he were to unretire, he's technically still a Buccaneer until they trade him.
Is he?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure when he first retired and then he came back, he had to get traded from New England to go to
That's
Tampa
because
Bay.
he had a contract, though. Is he under...
I still think he is.
A more than 1 year contract?
Yeah, I don't think he's a free agent.
Okay.
Because if you looked at the news, it didn't say free agent tight end. It said Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And I saw a funny tweet that said, you know what? Tampa Bay should do what they can to acquire O.J. Howard from the Bills, who just left them. So it does kind of put a damper. I don't know if it makes you look at Tom Brady different. I mean, now Brady's going into the season without Gronk and without Godwin for, at least a few games, if not 6 or more. So I don't know if that's going to make you put Brady down in your rankings. I mean, I'm not asking for a sure answer, but what do you just think off the cuff?
Not really.
Not really?
No. I mean, you think of Gronk wasn't, even if he was going to sign, he probably wasn't, or if he was going to stay in the league, he's not really going to work out in the offseason.
Right, but then why go
And he wasn't that good at the beginning of the year. Well, it took him a little while to get going.
He was pretty damn good last year. I don't know if you remember.
Not right away.
Yeah, week 2, he had 3 touchdowns. He was, he got hurt. Sucks, and I mean, it's kind of usual for him. But I know from experience because I had him. I had him in our league of record that we're in, and yeah, he was crushing it for me. So, we hate him, but we love him here because we hate him because he was a Patriot, but all of Buffalo people have an affinity for Buffalo people. So he's a hometown boy. He acts just like all of us. He really does. If he was in the NFL, he'd be jumping through tables at the tailgate.
Oh, for sure.
Right? So, I'm interested to see if and when he comes back. My thoughts on the Brady situation is, does it make me move him down? I was going to say it doesn't make me move him down. It makes me move people ahead of him, but that's moving him down. So I was trying to sugarcoat it. We will have a ranking show, closer as the season goes, and we'll discuss it there. Brady was probably close to my top 5 quarterback, but he might be out of my top 5 quarterback now. So, and if Gronk was playing, Gronk might have been a top 5 or 6 tight end for me going into the season. So,
yeah,
it's interesting, and it's a big note to talk about, but I figured that's how we'll set the table, and we're going to go and take a break now and go to our lovely sponsors, and when we get back, we are going to be talking about the NFC West, the additions, the subtractions, what we think's going to happen, who's going to win it, if there's wild card implications, and we will be right back after this. And we're back. Thank you for the sponsors on this great episode. Episode 4, did I mention it? Episode 4.
Episode 4.
We have given you guys hours and hours of content out there, and we are ready to start our OnlyFans now, don't you think?
Yes.
Yeah, someday. Someday, all the feet pictures you guys can handle with...
4 episodes in, and there's still no smorgasbord for the talent. So we must be low budget.
You're drinking a fine beer. Did I not give you a snack when you walked in too?
It's true.
I gave you a sweet tart rope when you walked in, so don't play. And you got snuggles from the cat.
Yeah.
That's more than I get when I go on the All Bets Are Off podcast with Robbie Vegas. So he didn't even give me a drink last time. So that son of a...
That's gonna have to strike.
Right? That's okay. I'm the star of that show. He knows it. But we're here to talk about the NFC West. And of course, we're going to start with the reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl champions, Los Angeles Rams. And they were not my pick to win the Super Bowl last year because I didn't think they'd make it. I thought the Buccaneers would, and they almost lost to the Buccaneers. So, good season they had, of course. I said that like Yoda, didn't I?
You did.
Good season they had. So, they had a few big losses, and losses meaning people leaving the team this offseason. And, of course, I'm going to start with the big one. Who's the big one they lost?
Some guy named Von Miller.
Von Miller, baby. And, of course, as you all know, he ended up with them Buffalo Bills to bolster our pass rush. So, Von Miller... kind of, they were like I don't want to say they were a floundering team. They were okay. They were doing well. They traded for Von Miller and just soared right into the Super Bowl. And he was a menace in the Super Bowl. I mean, I know Aaron Donald was a menace too, But that's the idea. Aaron Donald gets tied up by two people, you get Von Miller free.
Yes.
That's
and vice versa.
Right, and that's kind of idea in Buffalo. If if Von Miller gets tied up by two people, maybe Rousseau gets free, right? And that's the idea.
Yeah.
Or if one of the tackles, if one of the other young ends, if Epineza gets tied up or Epineza gets free, right? You never know now.
Yep.
Safety blitzes, whatever. So I think losing Von Miller was a huge loss for them and their defense. I mean, they still have a great defense.
Yeah, for sure.
They still got Aaron Donald. They still got Jalen Ramsey. But they used to have one of the best cornerbacks, the best interior defensive lineman, and the best pass rusher. So now they don't have the best pass rusher at least anymore. So
now it's going to be easier to double up Aaron Donald. So
right. So someone's going to have to step up for them. But I still think, obviously, you want to go with their defense in fantasy.
For sure.
And they also lost a cornerback from their defense too. But an underappreciated loss that no one's really talking about too much is they lost Robert Woods.
Ugh.
And Robert Woods is the most boring fantasy player, but he's a very good fantasy football player. And he is now with the Titans, but he's coming off is it an ACL? I think it's an ACL.
Yeah, I believe so.
That he tore halfway through the season. So obviously it's not going to affect them to the point because they replaced him immediately with Odell Beckham, who willed them to the Super Bowl as well, who also tore his ACL in the Super Bowl. So if Beckham comes back, he's not going to be back until towards
the end.
Yeah, December. So. Keep your eye out for Beckham. But I want to talk about Robert Woods for a second, going to Tennessee. I don't think it's going to hurt Matt Stafford at all. Because they brought in your boy from the Bears, Allen Robinson. Now, Allen Robinson was basically dead last year.
He's basically been dead for years.
Allen Robinson had a decent career in Jacksonville, then was signed a big free agency deal in Chicago and was good, okay, and horrible last year. Horrible last year. I mean, I know in all of my leagues, by halfway through the season, he was on the free agents list. And this guy was probably a 5th-round pick. So I'm interested to see now, is Allen Robinson deceased, or was it the system? We all hate Matt Nagy. We all know he's garbage.
We all hate the Bears.
I don't think that's true, Jay. And then we all hate... I mean, but we also like Mitch Trubisky, and Allen Robinson was okay with Mitch Trubisky. Horrible with Justin Fields. I'm not a Justin Fields fan as a player, but fantasy, maybe he'll do better this year. But we're not going to talk about the Bears. What do you think, off the cuff, Allen Robinson? Do you value Allen Robinson more this year than you valued Odell Beckham last year?
Probably. It's almost kind of perfect to, because he had such a bad year last year, to play in this offense, because people are going to be doubling up your boy Cooper Kupp. So it's going to give Allen Robinson a lot more chances. So,
and Cooper Kupp deserves to be doubled up. Now that's a name, obviously, that we haven't brought up, but we'll get there in one second. We'll get to their current, the current looks of their team. They lost a guard, they lost a defensive tackle, and here's actually a big one. They lost their punter, Johnny Hecker, and I know that's whatever, fantasy football, but losing your punter, I mean, this guy was a Pro Bowler, right? That could screw them. Who knows? Now, looking at their starting lineup, Jay, we got Matthew Stafford, of course. I mean, I think now Matthew Stafford's a future Hall of Famer.
For sure.
I mean, especially coming...
No doubt.
I mean, think about it. This team traded a lot for him, and he waltzes right in and wins the Super Bowl. He turns Cooper Kupp into, a good slot receiver to the NFL's best receiver. The guy had 143 catches last year? That's insane.
18 yards short of Calvin Johnson's NFL record for reception yardage.
Insane. And think about this. Who was Calvin Johnson's quarterback the year that he had all those records?
Matt Stafford.
Right? So we know Matt Stafford can throw the ball. And in the fantasy landscape, we value, quarterbacks that can move a lot more than somebody like Matt Stafford. But don't sleep on Matt Stafford ever. One of the best arms in the NFL. And coming in now with Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, and they still got Van Jefferson, and rumor has it that they're going to bring back OBJ. Cam Akers is their running back. And who do they got starting at tight end?
Tyler
Higbee, who I had in fantasy last year. I thought that guy would do better. He was one of those guys that had to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
If he got you 4 for 60, you were ecstatic. If he got you 4 for 60 and a touchdown, forget about it. You're doing backflips.
Yeah.
Right? So I would put Cam Akers, any running back's got to be on your radar. They're still bringing back Darrell Henderson too, who had to fill in for Cam Akers because he was coming off an injury, but he came back in the playoffs, but he looked really slow. But I don't think he was fully, healed. Their best running back last year departed and went over to, I believe, Miami, and Sony Michel, who I always thought was garbage, but he played pretty good, if you remember, for the Rams coming into the season. So what are your, thoughts in general on the Rams this year with the moves they made and everything?
I think they're definitely going to be Super Bowl contenders again. For sure.
I don't think they really went down.
No.
I don't know if they went up. Maybe they did. I mean, is there an argument that Allen Robinson right now is better than Odell Beckham? I think there is.
Maybe.
They're both coming off of kind of crappy seasons, but the thing is Odell was coming off a crappy season when he was in Cleveland. He played pretty good in LA.
Yeah.
And Odell, at one point, was the most exciting player in the NFL. It wasn't that long ago either. So I think their biggest loss was Von Miller. And I think that only hurts their defense.
Yeah.
And for fantasy, you got to look at their defense. And for fantasy purposes, everybody's in play. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
I mean, I would go as far as saying their third receiver, Van Jefferson's going to be drafted.
I would assume so.
And I would assume that Odell Beckham maybe gets drafted in deeper leagues for the hope that he gets re-signed.
Yeah. And comes back. Maybe he comes back early. Who knows how long it's going to take him to heal.
So they're definitely Super Bowl contenders, and we won't do our picks yet of who's going to win the division until after this, but Rams are something to be afraid about, everybody. So now we're moving in to the team that was, I think, in the NFC Championship game with those Rams. Yeah, they were. The San Francisco 49ers. And when it comes to, additions and subtractions, nothing major of note other than, it seems major. I was a big fan of Raheem Mostert, fastest running back in the league, they say. But he crushed my soul last year. Do you remember his stats? No. Last year, week 1, 2 carries for 20 yards, averaging 10 yards a carry, and a torn ACL. And week 1. And, that just crushed my soul because I was in on him in a lot of leagues. And c'est la vie. He's over in Miami now. I know we talked about their running situation. They have Elijah Mitchell. They have Trey Sermon. It's a scary... did I say that right, Trey Sermon? Is that?
Yes.
Okay. I always forget his name. Because Trey Sermon was the 3rd round pick, Elijah Mitchell was the 6th round pick, and Elijah Mitchell was the guy.
Yeah.
So, weird and odd, but, I'm stealing this nickname from another podcast I listen to, the NFL on CBS podcast or something. They call it Kyle Shenanigans, or Kyle Shanahanigans. That's what it is. Kyle Shanahanigans, because he's always doing shit like that. So when it comes to fantasy football, you need to worry about the Kyle Shanahanigans. Their defense is always stout, always good. They've got Nick Bosa, right? Yeah, they got Nick Bosa, who I believe was NFL player or defensive player of the year a couple years ago. So that's scary, but I know the 2 main players you need to talk about when you're talking about this team is, of course, Deebo Samuel, who was electric last year. Absolute electric. And we'll talk about him for a second before we get into the quarterback debate. Deebo Samuel had a fantastic year last year, but I don't see the same thing happening again this year. he ran the ball a ton because of all the injuries they had at running back.
Most touchdowns by a wide receiver in the NFL ever.
Really?
Yep.
Well, that's because he had like 12 rushing, too.
9 rushing touchdowns.
Okay.
That's most ever in an NFL season by a wide receiver.
9 NFL rush. Wow. That's a lot. I don't think the Bills running backs had that many.
No.
So I don't see them running him as much. Now, here's the thing. He was holding off all season because he's ran like a running back, but he's a receiver. But then the receivers, if you noticed, all these receivers got paid big money. And then did you notice he started shutting his mouth?
Yes.
Once all those receivers started to get the money, he's like, yeah, I'm a receiver. Yeah, absolutely, I'm a receiver. So you need to be high on Debo. I almost said Debo Manuel. No. Debo Samuel. You need to be high on him. Don't overdraft him. I want to warn you people, don't overdraft him. Don't draft him above Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs. Don't do it.
No.
He needs to be below all those guys. I know.
It's the 49ers offense, too. They're always like, eh.
The 49ers were in the NFC Championship 2 out of 3 years, man. And here's the big debate. Jimmy Garoppolo v. Trey Lance. 0% chance, in my opinion, that Jimmy Garoppolo starts a game for the San Francisco 49ers this year.
That's bold.
Why is it bold?
It just is.
They went in and traded 3 picks to get Trey Lance. And that was their whole plan. Jimmy will help train this kid. Trey's taking over. You don't trade 3 picks and move up and take a kid 3rd overall to bench him this long. He went in a couple of games and he was throwing terribly. But the guy is very electric when it comes to running the ball. I see Jimmy Garoppolo. Where do I see him? I see him ending up Seattle. I think he ends up in Seattle. Though that's tough, though, because that's a division rival.
Yeah.
But I don't see... You got to make the move if you're going to make the move. And if Trey Lance is the starter this year, he needs to be on your fantasy football radar. He's an electric runner. He's got a big arm. Everything they say about Trey Lance is exactly the things they were saying about Josh Allen. And we turned, that into gold. I don't think Trey Lance is going to be the best quarterback in the NFL or anything like that. Like Josh Allen is. Yeah, you heard it here, folks. But fantasy football-wise, it's just running alone. If that guy runs for 130 yards, one big 60-yard run, that's more points than I was getting last year from Ryan Tannehill almost.
Yeah.
You tired?
Nope.
The San Francisco offense bores you?
Yeah.
Really? It bores you?
Yeah.
With Trey Lance and Debo Samuel? Really? I mean, I know they're old school.
Like, Debo is entertaining, but the rest of it...
Are you not on Trey Lance's bandwagon?
No, I'm not.
Why not?
I just don't like him.
Just you don't think he's the... Like, what don't you like about it? I mean, everybody likes his running, and I get that. But, like, what turns you off about it?
I just don't think he's going to be that good.
I mean, I know he has accuracy problems, but you can plan around that. Now, he's had a whole year in the system. But, to be fair, they also haven't moved Garoppolo yet. So...
and they have 2 more quarterbacks.
Yeah, I don't think that matters.
No.
I don't think that matters. I don't know. You have your choice right now. Trey Lance or Justin Fields?
Trey Lance.
Okay, good answer. That's the answer we were looking for.
Not psychopath.
For your starting quarterback in fantasy football. And this is a serious question. And you need to think about it. Don't scoff at it. I'm going to give you 3 names in a row, okay?
Oh, God.
Trey Lance or Derek Carr.
Derek Carr.
Okay. Trey Lance or Kirk Cousins.
Ugh. I don't know.
You can't pick that one?
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance or, this is the big one, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
Why?
He's better.
Okay. I mean, yes, that's easy to say.
He's got good pedigree.
Okay, what about weapons?
He's got none.
Okay. So if you're going to take Aaron Rodgers because he's got a good arm with absolutely nobody, or Trey Lance, who can run the ball and has Debo Samuel and George Kittle for some games.
Like 2.
And Elijah Mitchell, right? So, it's an interesting way to put it. I mean,
those weapons don't matter if you can't hit them.
It's true, but there's ways. Think about all the gadgety ways they use Debo. They're not just going to stop.
No.
And I think, like, if they might have a pretty, like, deceptively cool offense if Trey Lance has some form of accuracy. I'm excited about Trey Lance. I was when they drafted him. So he just, like, gives me that Josh Allen vibe of that raw dude that, like, well, he went to a good system. He went to a good offensive coach. I'm excited to see it. You're not. So it is what it is.
I'm usually right.
Well, we'll see about that. Moving on to the next team in the NFC West, a team that I'm not looking forward to talk about because I get accused of unfairly judging their star player in the Arizona Cardinals. Now, notable additions were, the only one I could think of is trading for Marquise Brown, which makes any team better.
Yes.
Which they needed to do because their draft sucked. And they also lost DeAndre Hopkins for half the season. But, looking at their notable losses...
You can tell we're eager.
Well, I'm laughing. I'm looking at this page that was done before the draft, right? So it doesn't say Marquise Brown, but it literally says notable additions. None. And that just makes me laugh so much. Like, yeah, they made the trade for Marquise Brown, who's very underrated. Put him on your fantasy boards, everybody. Plus, he went to the same college with Kyler, and they were teammates. So they should have some chemistry there. And obviously, Marquise Brown is used to like a more running mobile quarterback because he went from Kyler in college to Lamar Jackson in the NFL, now back to Kyler. So there's no reason to me that would make me think that Marquise Brown is downgraded because of this.
Yeah.
Does it make you feel any different?
No.
We've said this before. I think Marquise is going to a worse quarterback than Lamar. He's going to a downgrade.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean he's going to be worse or bad. He could still be very explosive. Because Kyler Murray likes to break the pocket and launch the ball downfield. And a lot of Kyler Murray's big plays, he's hitting just wide open receivers, that get open. So I don't think you need to be afraid of Marquise Brown. Is Kyler Murray top of your head in your top 5 quarterback?
No.
No, he's not for me. Which makes me like him better. So now if I'm taking Kyler Murray 8th or 9th in quarterback, right? He's still on the board there. That's okay for him because he has the potential to be a monster. But if he does I'm really good, I'm garbage.
Yeah.
It's not killing you as much.
Yeah.
As when he's been the 3rd or 4th quarterback off the board the last couple years. I think that's where he deserves to be. Will he be on my team? Maybe, but I think I'll have him in my rankings a lot lower than some people. He's in my top 12, but maybe my top 10. You know what I mean? He's not in my top 6.
No.
So, now, what scares me, list off their running backs.
James Conner, Eno Benjamin, Jonathan Ward, Keontae Ingram.
Okay, I think we talk about Keontae Ingram as a rookie this year.
Yes.
Now, James Conner scares me. He had a lot of touchdowns last year. I don't think that's sustainable. He's never had them before. And he comes in and has a really good touchdown season in this offense with Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds goes off to Miami. And now you're sitting here looking at James Conner. James Conner's going like in the 2nd round in like the mock drafts I've been doing.
That's crazy.
That's scary to me. James Conner's up there like with like Saquon Barkley and like Ezekiel Elliott and stuff like that. I don't look at James Conner like that.
No, me neither.
He doesn't catch the ball like that. Touchdowns are touchdowns. They're not always guaranteed.
Yeah.
And he's injured a lot too. He had a healthy season. I could be salty because James Conner was my 2nd round pick like 3 years ago and was crap his last year or one of his last years in Pittsburgh. So am I being salty or am I wrong here?
I don't see him as that either. So, I mean, I can't believe he's in the same conversation as Zeke and Saquon.
Last couple mock drafts I did, he was going like end of second, early third round, which I couldn't do. I couldn't do that. I couldn't pull the trigger. Now, the real scary part, read me their receivers.
Marquise Brown, AJ Green, Rondell Moore, and DeAndre Hopkins.
I mean, they sound good.
Yeah.
Especially if AJ Brown was there.
Yes.
Marquise Brown, draft him. Nuke Hopkins, you're going to have to draft him, but he's missing half the year.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to at some point. That's up to you if you're going to be brave enough. If you feel you can make it, if he's your third or fourth receiver, okay. Don't make him your second receiver.
Yeah.
That's asking for trouble.
Yeah, he's going to come back halfway through the year, and then who knows how many games it's going to take him to get going.
And usually Kyler Murray is shitty in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
So, I don't think he's got to be drafted, but please don't make him your second receiver. At least make him your third, if you have to. Who's the AJ Green? Nah. I'm off of his bandwagon. He's too old. He wasn't very explosive last year. Who's the other one?
Rondell Moore.
Rondell Moore last year was exciting for like 2 games and then garbage the rest of the season. But that's also what you say about Kyler Murray, right?
Yeah.
So who knows? Who knows with him? He's an interesting late round flyer pick. But the one that I'm interested, I think, the most in this offense is their starting tight end.
Zach Ertz?
Yes. There's not a lot of tight end options in the NFL this year. And
There never is.
And he's one that's going late. He's going in the Dawson Knox, Pat Freiermuth, Zach Ertz range. You know what I mean? So it's like later after those big 5 and 6. So he interests me at that point. Especially because he's a reliable pass catcher. They traded for him. They want to use him. I know he's been kind of off of the... he wasn't doing good too much in Philly anymore, but he was injured, and Jalen Hurts just doesn't throw to tight ends.
Yeah.
And he got used pretty decently in Arizona last year. I can't. Do you have any feelings for Zach Ertz? Negative, positive, hatred, love?
I'm pretty neutral. The only thing I guess you got to worry about is they got Trey McBride.
True.
So...
They're an offense they're a team, it's funny to say, I'm looking forward to watch this year to see if it's going to be a train wreck.
They have a rough 3 weeks. First 3 weeks of the year.
What's that?
The Chiefs, the Raiders, and then the Rams.
Oh, baby. That sucks too, because that's usually when Kyler Murray's good, so he's got to come out firing. Or they're going to be tough. I don't know. I don't know about this team. I don't know about Kyler Murray. Y'all can scold me all you want in the comments and talking about this video, but I'm not on this team. I'm not on Kyler Murray, and we are just going to move on. The final team in the NFC West is the almighty, the Legion of Boom, the Seattle Seahawks. Oh boy, what a dumpster fire. Is that the best way to describe it?
Yeah, that's putting it nicely.
Oh my goodness. Not worst coach, oldest coach in the NFL. This team is looking to establish it, man. They just want to pound the rock. Obviously, we need to talk about the big trade that was made. Getting rid of franchise quarterback Russell Wilson. Gone off to the Broncos. And who did they bring in return? Ya boy, Drew Lock. Noah Fant. And I believe, was it Shelby Harris?
I believe so.
Okay, so Shelby Harris, good young defensive lineman. Noah Fant, a good young tight end. This guy was drafted in like the top 25 picks of the NFL. So he's been stuck with Drew Lock his whole career, so we'll have to see how he does in Seattle with oh shit. And of course Drew Lock. Key losses, obviously Russell Wilson. They lost Gerald Everett as well, a good pass catching tight end that went over to the AFC West, I believe. So we'll talk about him in a minute. I mentioned this earlier. They have to make a trade, I think, for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Maybe
Jimmy Garoppolo.
But is this them? Are they tanking?
I don't even
know. Is
know.
this just cashing in and being like, fuck it. Let's trade Wilson and we'll tank for the next year.
There's a lot of they say there's a lot of good quarterbacks coming out next year. So projected starting lineup. Tell me. What do you got?
You want me to vomit? Or?
No, yeah, I want you to tell me what this projected starting lineup is.
Drew Lock.
Or possibly
Geno Smith.
Bar for you. My thought, Jimmy Garoppolo, and possibly, you could talk about Baker. But
Baker.
But either of those two would obviously make this team.
Then they got running backs Rashad Penny, Kenneth Walker, which we talked about, Chris Carson, who's dead.
But that's the strength of their team, obviously, right there.
Wide receiver DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Freddie Swain, Dwayne Eskridge, and then you got tight end Noah Fant.
So, I mean, that's not too bad. Good running backs, good 2 receivers, and a good young tight end. So if you think about it, if they brought in Jimmy Garoppolo, this team could be pretty solid.
Could be.
Or are they tanking?
Yeah. I'm going with tanking.
No, I don't want to buy into Geno Smith because A, he started for them last year a few games and was not fantastic. And I'm not buying into Drew Lock because Drew Lock had 2 pretty good receivers out in Denver and is going to a team with 2 pretty good receivers, and he was always meh. So if you're trying to win, you start Drew Lock. If you're trying to lose, you start Drew Lock. Because Drew Lock is like young Josh Allen, young Brett Favre. This guy thinks he can fit a ball anywhere, and he's fearless, but he sucks at the same time. So, you know what? Not even Josh Allen. Not even. He's like Jay Cutler.
You might be able to win more games with DK at quarterback.
Well, at least if you ran the ball. I don't have much to say about this team. I'm out on everybody.
Yeah.
Last year, you're taking DK Metcalf in the 2nd round. He's got to be 5th round this year.
Yeah.
Like, he's got to be there.
Unless they make a trade.
True. You're right. If they make a trade, that's one thing. Also, Tyler Lockett, I've always been out on because Tyler Lockett is the guy that puts up like 17 points, 15 points, 49 points, 4 points, 3 points, 52 points, 0 points, 10 points. I can't do that.
He might be the streakiest fantasy wide receiver.
Yeah, I can't do it. I cannot have Tyler.
Yeah.
The only way Tyler Lockett's on my team is if I have like 4 other receivers and he's still there and I'm like, Tyler Lockett or Noah Fant, right? I'm going to go Tyler Lockett at that point. There's no way he's going to be on my team. There's no way one of their quarterbacks are on our team. And here's the thing, folks. You got Rashad Penny, who was pretty good last year for, former 1st-round pick. 2nd round, they take Kenneth Walker, the 3rd. You got to get both, I think. If you're going to do it, you got to get both because you're only, Rashad Penny's going to get hurt. The dude's never played a full season in the NFL, and it's been 4 years. And I don't trust rookie running backs right away. Yeah. So, your best bet is to get Penny and Walker. But the problem with that, Jay, is I think you're taking them back-to-back picks in, the 4th and 5th round.
Yeah, more than likely. And that's someone's going to steal them from you then.
And that's just scary. So, I'm pretty much out on everybody. I would look into Noah Fant late. And I would still look into DK Metcalf, but not anywhere in the top 4 rounds.
No.
If DK Metcalf is my number 2 receiver, I'd be okay with that. But DK can't be your number 1 receiver. And I'm not talking about the defense at all.
Yeah.
It is certainly not the Legion of Boom anymore.
No.
So now that we discussed this team, give me top to bottom who's winning, who's winning the division, you got, what I say? The exact way we just discussed them.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, that's the exact way I think it's going to be. I think it's easily going to be the Rams, and I think it's easily going to be the Niners in 2nd place, making the playoffs. And then I think it's a battle for Bikini Bottom between Kyler Murray and Drew Lock. But I honestly think Arizona finishes 3rd, misses the playoffs.
Let's say this. If Seattle somehow with this lineup does better than the Cardinals, what does that say about Kyler Murray?
But the thing is it really that blah? It's really just Drew Lock that we're scared of.
Yeah, I guess. Right?
So I think I think after going over this, I don't hate Seattle as much as I thought, but I'm still not in on them.
No.
I wouldn't be surprised if they finished 3rd and Arizona finished last. But also, I wouldn't be surprised if San Francisco had a fucking meltdown and finished last either. Because it could very well happen. So, but easily, I think we're both in agreement that this is the Rams division for the take.
Oh, for sure.
Well, that finishes up our NFC West talk. And now we will be moving on to the AFC West. Starting with the Seattle Seahawks trade partner for the big trade, the Denver Broncos. Obviously, looking at the trade, I mean, it's hard not to say the Broncos won, but I don't know. I have always said that Russell Wilson is a bit overrated in my book, and he's just basically old man Kyler Murray. And it's just kind of the same thing. Like, yeah, he's a good quarterback. Yeah, he can scramble. Yeah, he's clutch sometimes, but he's also more of a, I'm going to sling it up there and see what my receiver can do. And that only gets you so far.
Yep.
So talking about the big, Denver Broncos free agency additions. Russell Wilson, obviously it's a good move. They also brought in Randy Gregory from the Cowboys, a good edge rusher. But that's really about it. They lost Noah Fant, which could hurt them. They lost Drew Lock, which is like,
Teddy Bridgewater.
Franchise altering. I didn't even know they had Teddy Bridgewater last year. That's news to me, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, that surprises me. He's over in the Dolphins now, too. All right. So, Russell Wilson, yes. He's going into a new... he's going into... No, not really. Russell Wilson's kind of going into the same system. 2 good receivers, a strong running game, right? Like, I think Russell Wilson can step in day one and be Russell Wilson, which is...
what they need?
6, 7, 8, 7 or 8 maybe in my list of quarterbacks this year in fantasy football. I'm not expecting a lot of rushing from Russell Wilson, but let's talk about it. What is the starting lineup for the 2022 Denver Broncos?
Russ Wilson. Running backs, you got Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, Mike Boone.
Those are 2 bangers right there.
Yes.
What about that receiving corridor?
Cortland Sutton. Big Booty Jerry Jeudy.
Yes, that's my nickname, everybody.
Tim Patrick, KJ Hamler. And then tight end, they got Albert Okunwebaum.
Good job. For everyone's purpose going forward, we will refer to him as Albert O. But Albert Okunwebaum, who was pretty good last year, filling in, and I think he tore his ACL too. But obviously, you're looking at these running backs and the receivers. There are a bunch of receivers that hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
But there are a bunch of receivers that have been dealing with Drew Lock, and who did they have a couple years? Like Case Keenum, was it?
Yeah, I think
right?
so.
So it's like, well, hey, call me Dennis the Menace, ready? Mr. Wilson, now you've got nothing. You got no excuses now. You're going into a team with a good offensive line. You're going into a team with, I wouldn't say any of these receivers are better than DK Metcalf, but I would say the receivers as a whole
is better than the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and both of these running backs are better than Chris Carson ever was.
Yes.
So, all right, well, Russell Wilson, now's your time to show us. You're in maybe not so arguably, the toughest division in the NFL. And I don't know, folks, I'm just not buying it this year for this team.
They have a pretty easy schedule, so they should do pretty good.
Yeah, but they're not. 6 games are against the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Chiefs, though. I mean, those are going to be insane. Tell everybody what the first game of the season is for this team.
The Seahawks.
Going into Seattle, right?
So
Russell Wilson, first game of the year, going into Seattle. I believe it's
it's a Monday night. Monday Niner.
So that is must-watch TV. Absolutely, that is must-watch TV. So I'm buying in... Okay, I think you have a man crush on Javonte Williams, if I remember.
No, not really.
No, you don't?
No.
I thought that was one of your fantasy crushes. It's a new coaching system. Their new head coach is what? Nathaniel Hackett?
Yeah.
Former Bills offensive coordinator?
Yep.
Coming from Green Bay as offensive coordinator. Here's the thing. He likes to use 2 running backs. When he was on the Bills, we had C.J. Spiller and Fred Jackson. Well, last year, he was using A.J. Dillon almost as much as Aaron Jones towards the end of the year. So... the fact that sometimes I see Javonte Williams going like early second round, like right after, say, Stephon Diggs and Travis Kelce, no, I can't do that. I can't do that.
Yeah.
Would you would take him that high?
I don't know.
I mean, he's a great talent.
The running back, you need a lot of running back depth in fantasy football because there's only 6 top tier running backs, give or take.
All right.
So then after that, they're all like the same, kind of.
So I'll just throw a couple names at you. You tell me which one you're going to take. Well, I'll give you a name. It's going to be, Javonte Williams or every time. All right.
All right.
Javonte Williams or we'll go with Joe Mixon.
Javonte Williams.
Oh my God, disgusting! Absolutely not.
I hate Joe Mixon.
Okay. Him or what about Leonard Fournette?
I don't know. I'm indifferent to both of them.
Him or Zeke?
You son of a bitch. You're gonna get me old takes exposed on this shit.
What is it? No, it's not. I'm just saying off top of my head.
I have a strict policy that I don't draft Cowboys.
Okay, fine. Him or David Montgomery?
Javonte Williams.
Oh, okay, that's fair. Him or Quan?
Javonte Williams.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I can't do it. Everybody I said there, I'm taking everybody I said there over Javonte Williams.
You would take Barkley over anyone, though, because you got a fucking boner for Barkley.
Boners for Barkley, everybody. That's okay. I would take. The only one I might take Javonte over is maybe Leonard Fournette, and that's. But I don't know. I can't do it with Javonte.
You would take Javonte over Zeke.
No, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
You would.
I don't know. That's a tough
Zeke.
one. Okay, let's move on to the receivers, though, real quick, because I have not, and I do a lot of mock drafts. They're fun. I have not found myself with one of these top two guys on my team once in any mock draft. They're going way too high for my blood.
Yeah.
Would you put one of these two receivers as your number one fucking receiver?
Fuck no, because I've already had these guys and they fucking sucked.
They're going in like the third round. So if you went running back, one of these two guys will be your number one receiver. Absolutely not. I can't. No. I can never see myself doing that.
That's when you like go down in the draft a little bit and you're like, I'm taking this guy instead.
Right. Like these guys will never be my number one receiver. They would only be my number two receiver if I took an early tight end. I could not take any of these receivers to be one of my starters. I just can't do it. And if it comes to Albert O, sure. I mean, like I said, there's 5-6 good fantasy tight ends, and then it's just like, well, let's see what this guy does.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right? So let's see what this button does.
And that's even a lot. It's like 3, in my opinion.
No, it goes deeper than 3. Yeah. You got Kelsey, you've got Andrews, Kittle, Waller.
Who's hurt 90% of it.
Kittle, Waller.
I have experience.
Waller, Pitts.
Yeah, Waller.
Pitts.
Yeah, Pitts.
So
yeah,
you're looking at
now.
6 right there. That's what I'm saying. Hawkinson is at like 7. So like that's about where I draw the line. I don't know if I consider Hawkinson like
no
great, but like if you still got to give. I know you hate Kittle, George. You hate George Brittle, if you will.
Yeah,
right now, but he's up there. So,
yeah, only because he's good, but he's a fucking asshole.
And when it comes to their defense, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. It's just I don't look into their defense that much. I don't really care about defense too much. We're just going to move on. Are you got anything else to say about this team?
No.
All right, we're just going to move on to the Bills' big rival right now, the team that took the Bills out of the playoffs the last 2 years, and that would be the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, they lost an earth-shattering departure in Tyreek Hill. I mean, that should completely change the offense. But at the same time, Jay, they brought in a lot of depth at the position, right?
A shit ton
of depth at the position. So last year they went with Tyreek Hill and Denard Robinson as their number 2, Josh Gordon as their number 2, maybe. Just read me the projected wide receiver starters here for this team.
Mecole Hardman, Juju, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Sky Moore, Josh Gordon, also Corey Coleman.
Family member.
Yes.
Okay. That's a lot more depth than having... Did they really... Who was the first one they listed?
Mecole Hardman.
They put Mecole Hardman as the first one. Get the fuck out of here. Okay, so they definitely have more depth. And obviously, we all know who their number 1 option is.
Juju?
No, Travis Kelce.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So... Just because they lost Tyreek Hill doesn't mean you're throwing dirt on this team and burying them. They're definitely deeper now. So that's still scary as a Bills fan. But the thing is that you can't just replace Tyreek Hill with Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He's fast. No, they're completely different players. Remember, for a while there, the Chiefs were completely shut down. They went like 2-3, 2-4 because they took the top away. They took away Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Like, remember when the Bills beat them on Monday night?
Yep.
Well, guess what the Chiefs just did? They themselves took away Tyreek.
Yep.
Right? So they don't even have that option anymore. I think it's going to be a hard road for the Chiefs because, read me their starting lineup. Obviously, we know we got Patrick Mahomes. Okay.
Pat Mahomes, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Okay. Kind of been a bust.
Ronald Jones.
He's coming in fresh, but he's been a bust pretty much from coming in from Tampa Bay.
We already did the wide receivers, and then you got Kelsey.
So Kelsey's great. These receiving options, they better be on your teams, guys.
Yeah.
But don't expect Juju Smith-Schuster to be Tyreek Hill.
No.
Absolutely not. Don't respect Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Expect exactly what he's been his whole career.
Yeah. They were 12-5 with Tyreek Hill. What do you think they're going to do this year?
Dude, this division is so much harder now this year.
They're tied for 5th on hardest schedule.
I would think they're around... I wouldn't say 12, but maybe 10 or 11 wins. But, I mean, that's tough, man.
Are you more or less afraid of them now?
Less. Did my cat scratch you again?
Fuck yeah.
Good job, girl. Good job, girl.
She's not for this Kansas City slander.
I don't know, man. This team, I'm less afraid of. I think we're the better team. I think we were the better team last year. And I think we're the better team now as the Bills. And I'm not thinking, like I said, they're buried, but like, this division is going to be tough. I would not be shocked if this team didn't make the playoffs.
That's a bold statement.
We'll get into that at the end. Well, we didn't really talk about Patrick Mahomes, but what's there to say? Here's a question about Patrick Mahomes. Again, off the top of your head. Ready? Is he your number 2 quarterback? I know he's not your number 1. Everyone's going to have Josh.
You could probably make the argument for him as number 2. Personally, I'm probably not for me.
I don't think he's mine either. I don't think it's a slam dunk at all that he's the number 2 fantasy quarterback this year. You got Herbert. You still,
my guy.
You got your guy Herbert. You still got Brady. You still got Lamar Jackson, right? Like, there's a lot.
Josh Allen.
Well, he's number 1. Like, I think I don't think there's an argument. Is Josh Allen your number 1 or is Herbert your number 1?
Fantasy crushes?
Fantasy quarterbacks.
Fantasy crush, it's definitely Herbert, but I think...
Okay.
But, like, that's because he's my guy.
But you're sitting there in the 4th round, no quarterbacks are drafted. Josh Allen's sitting there.
I'm taking Josh Allen if Josh Allen's
that's
there.
what I'm saying. So Josh Allen's your number 1 fantasy quarterback.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Me too. But I'm sitting there in the 4th round and they're all off the board. I mean, Josh is off the board, but everyone's still there. I think I might take Herbert ahead of Patrick Mahomes.
I would.
But I'm not going to guarantee that yet. But that's where I think
would, because that's my guy. But
sure. Well, we're going to move on from this team to talk about my other favorite team. So you need to call me on some bullshit if you think I'm being a homer, okay?
Oh, you probably are.
Okay, I'm asking you. I'm asking you to call me out on my bullshit. We are going to the Las Vegas Raiders. Okay. You know this is my second favorite team, right? I mean, if you're looking at one team going in one direction, one team going in the other, Kansas City trades away Tyreek Hill, one of the best receivers in the NFL. And what do the Raiders do, Jay?
Trade for one of the best wide receivers?
Trade and bring in arguably the best receiver in the NFL, Davante Adams, teaming up with his college teammate, Derek Carr. I mean, that's an A+, no matter what. That's an A+. They traded away like a 26th overall pick for him.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Like, you can't...
It's insane.
It's insane. I think there was another pick, but whatever. It doesn't matter. They brought in DeMarcus Robinson as well, and a speed receiver. Okay. When it comes to what they lost Marcus Mariota. I mean, that's a good backup quarterback, right? You lost a good backup. Well, you don't need a backup if you keep Derek Carr upright. They lost your favorite, Zay Jones.
That's your guy. I
mean, I think they won, though. They lost Zay Jones. They brought in Davante Adams. Like, what?
You think?
So they won that. But okay, now I know people give me a lot of flack for this, but just listen to this team, folks, okay? This team was in the playoffs last year. This team lost in the last second from a tipped pass against the Cincinnati Bengals in the first round of the playoffs. And what did the Cincinnati Bengals do, Jay?
Almost won.
Almost won the Super Bowl, right?
Yep.
Okay, so, I mean, just put that in perspective, right? This team has beaten the Chiefs almost every year, who's the class of the division, okay? Now, this team last year went through hell. The John Gruden scandals, Henry Ruggs killing somebody, their number one receiver killing somebody. They have a special teams coach as their head coach, and this team rallies around the coach, rallies around Derek Carr, who's a born leader, and makes it to the playoffs. It makes noise. Then they bring in Davante Adams. Now, Jay, they need a new head coach. They have all this talent on offense. They have all this talent on defense. They bring in Chandler Jones, by the way. I forgot to mention that. One of the best pass rushers in the NFL. They bring Chandler Jones to put on the other side
about that.
of Max Crosby, right? So they get Max Crosby, I believe, was first or second in sacks last year. Then they bring in Chandler Jones. So now are they going to go old school mind John Gruden? Are they going to go a defensive first head coach? What did they do for head coach, Jay?
Josh McDaniels.
Who everybody knows is one of the top offensive minds in the NFL, right? There's no argument about that. He was the offensive mind of the 2007 Patriots. I know that was 15 years ago, but that's still, to this day, the greatest offense in the history of the NFL. And he's a young coach. He's probably in his 40s right now. Now read me their starting lineup.
Derek Carr, running back Josh Jacobs, Kenyon Drake, Zamir White, wide receivers Davante Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Demarcus Robinson, Colleen Cole, Mac Hollins. Tight ends Darren Waller and Jacob Hollister now.
Bro, that's a sick team, man. This team, think about this. 2007. Okay, going into the 2007 season, you as a Bills fan, Tom Brady wasn't who he is today. Tom Brady was a different quarterback. 2007, their running backs, the Patriots, were like Kevin Falk, a little pass-catching guy, right? Do you remember the Patriots traded for a receiver in 2007 named Randy Moss? And then their other receiver was Wes Welker?
Yes.
Can you see any comparisons with this team right now? Derek Carr, great quarterback, just kind of, meddling. Pass-catching running back in Kenyon Drake and Josh Jacobs, a bruiser. They just trade and bring in Davante Adams, one of the best receivers in the league. Hunter Renfrow is your Wes Welker, your slot guy. And then, I don't remember their tight ends, but, Darren Waller is a top 3 tight end in the NFL.
Yep.
So, I think people are sleeping on this team. And I'm going to say it right now. This team wins this division. And I know there's a lot more teams to talk about. Well, there's only one more team to talk about. But, yes, over Kansas City. Yes, over Denver. Yes, over the Chargers. You don't have to give me your prediction of what they'll do quite yet. But, now after I explain it a little more, did that change any perception of this team? Now, you, the not Raiders fan, tell me what you think.
I think they're going to be good. I mean, you got Davante Adams. They got to be good. If they're not good, you know what's going to happen. People are going to talk shit about Derek Carr.
You brought Davante Adams into a team with Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow was nasty last year.
They made the playoffs with Zay fucking Jones as their wide receiver.
Right.
So, I mean, they got better.
This team can scare us. I think this team is a lot scarier than people realize. And I think, I remember all those memes when they traded for Westbrook of, the three-headed dragon with the goofy-looking dragon and saying Derek Carr. Oh, did I say Russell Westbrook? I just said Russell Westbrook. Hang on. Sorry about that. Derek Carr, obviously, I'm not going to say he's the best quarterback in the division, but he's the most underrated quarterback in the NFL, and he's going to lead this team to win this division. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Fucking homer.
You can argue me all you want. I want pieces of this offense. I will take Derek Carr as my quarterback if I whiffed on my first 5 or something. I will take, obviously, Devontae Adams. I will obviously take Darren Waller. I will obviously take Hunter Renfrow. And Josh Jacobs, I mean, he is what he is. I mean, he doesn't catch a lot of passes. He only gets you so much. So I'm more interested in Josh Jacobs in, like, not PPR leagues.
Yeah.
But 4th, 5th round, he's sitting there. He's my 3rd running back. Why the hell not? So, but I'm all in on the Raiders this year. I really am. And we're going to move on and talk about your man crush. We're going to talk about the Los Angeles Chargers and what an offseason they had. They brought in J.C. Jackson and cornerback, or what I like to, Stephon Diggs usually makes him burnt toast for breakfast. J.C. Jackson from the Patriots. They brought in Khalil Mack, who from UB, Buffalo, great outside linebacker. Okay, can't argue that. Gerald Everett, a good pass-catching tight end. They had a fantastic offseason. The people that they've lost, nobody of big, substance. And they've re-signed Mike Williams to a big deal. So, Los Angeles Chargers scare me. I think the Raiders team is the best team in the division, and I think the Chargers are the second. So, go ahead, read me this sick offensive starting lineup.
My guy, Justin Herbert.
Big Herb.
Running backs, you got Austin Eckler, Isaiah Spiller, Joshua Kelly. Wide receivers, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Josh Palmer, DeAndre Carter, Jalen Guyton. And then tight ends, Gerald Everett, Donald Parham.
Who I'm glad to see that because he broke his neck last year in a game. So I hope he does play.
Yeah.
I hope he is on the field. So, I mean, now obviously there's some big studs there. But I can't say this offense is better than the Raiders. It's certainly not as deep as the Raiders offense.
No.
So, one injury, and Mike Williams has been known to be injured. And here's the big thing. A lot depends on Eckler. Eckler was healthy last year. But if Eckler misses time and goes down, I mean, they're in trouble. Because Isaiah Spiller's a rookie, and then these other guys are just unproven.
Yeah.
So, and if Herbert goes down, I mean, forget about it. I think this team's a bit overrated, but I think they're a good team. I think this team is on the back of Justin Herbert. And I think that's why they're doing so well.
Yeah.
It took Mike Williams to his 5th year to actually have a good season. And that's the truth. Keenan Allen's always been a baller. And Eckler, hey, given his first couple times, he's been a baller. Obviously, you're looking at Eckler going in the first round of fantasy football drafts. Well deserved. I'm afraid of him, though.
Yeah.
Especially that he didn't get hurt last year. That makes me afraid of him this year. Keenan Allen is, I guess, I might put him on my Fantasy Crush team when we do our Fantasy Crush teams. Keenan Allen's someone I end up with every year. Just great. A fantastic, great PPR receiver. He's going to get you 90 to 100 catches. He's going to get you 5 touchdowns. He's going to have games where he's got like 13 catches for 100 yards. That's 23 points in PPR without a touchdown. You can't beat that.
No.
But he also disappears. Obviously, we're both on the Justin Herbert bandwagon.
Yes.
I know you had that Herbert to Mike Williams connection, and I think you're a little salty on Mike Williams now.
A little bit.
Yeah? Why? Explain why.
Because he's not always there.
He's rarely there, I feel. He, like we were saying about Tyler Lockett.
Yeah,
So
kind of.
It's like the exact opposite. You pretty much know what you're getting from Keenan Allen, and you never know what you're getting from Mike Williams. And I think that reflects because Keenan Allen's probably going to go in the 3rd round. Mike Williams is probably going to go in the 4th or 5th.
Yeah.
Would you take Keenan Allen or Mike Williams first?
Keenan Allen.
Okay. Where would you put, off the cuff, where would you put Eckler right now? You got Taylor, Eckler, Cook, Najee, Henry. Where's he going?
After all those guys.
You think you
Yeah.
put him that late?
Yeah.
Put Najee above him?
Yeah.
What about CMC?
He's always hurt, so...
And that's what I'm worried about Eckler.
Eckler gets hurt way less, I feel, so...
I mean, that's true. But he gets hurt, but he not as bad.
Yeah, he's like one game. He's not like fucking half the season.
It's interesting. I don't know. I think I'd put him higher than some of those guys. I think I'd put him higher than Najee. I think I'd put him higher than Cook. He might be like 4. I think it would be for me, like, you know, off the top of my head, Taylor, Henry, maybe Eckler, maybe CMC. All right, you're yawning over here. It's late for you. I made you work hard today. You yelled at me because I kicked your ass out a couple of weeks ago early. Now I got you here 11:30 p.m. and you're yawning.
Yeah, you son of a bitch.
11:30 p.m. Okay, so let's
rank
we
this.
gotta rank them. I mean,
You can go first.
I'll go first. I think the Raiders are winning this division.
Homer.
I think the Chargers are in second. I think... Oh, my God. Dude, this is a tough division. I almost want to put the Chiefs on the bottom, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go Raiders, Chargers, playoffs. Chiefs, miss the playoffs. Broncos, miss the playoffs. That's what I'm going to say.
I'm going Chargers,
Okay.
Raiders, Chiefs, Broncos.
Do all four make the playoffs? Or do 3 make the playoffs? Because you can get 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that the Chiefs make it, but I'm iffy on it.
That's a nice feeling to be iffy
Yeah.
as a Bills fan, especially since, you know, give them their props. They're still daddy right now,
Yeah,
right? I mean, they're still daddy right now. So, all right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Next week on the Fantasy Football Bros podcast, we are going to be discussing the Central divisions.
Yes.
NFC Central, AFC Central. We might have a special guest. We'll see. We might have a special guest. We'll see if he wants to come in and another voice, another opinion. I pass it off to you today. Why don't you give us what the song of the week is?
Song of the week. Gotta give my guy Landmark a shout out on this one, but this is gonna be North Lane, Carbonized Up.
All right. Well, you heard it from Jay here. We got North Lane Carbonized, right? Did I say that
Yes.
right? I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm going to put it in. I mean, I glanced at it. It's a pretty sick beat. I knew that much. You know, my truck was bouncing. So, well, thank you for coming and doing the podcast again, Jay. We appreciate it. All the millions and millions of fans appreciate it. Thank you, everybody out there, for joining the Fantasy Football Bros podcast. I promise we'll be back next week with some more breakdowns of the divisions. I am Chad Stanley,
I'm your boy Jay.
and we will see you next time. Peace.
Represent smoke, hit it with a fresh coat. Represent smoke, hit it with a fresh coat. Represent smoke, hit it with a fresh coat. If the shit floats, run it through the main line. Sugar sweet with a bitter bitch, strip the pain of this brain. Your brain remains no blind. Conspire to keep it quiet. You run for cover, but you lit the fire. Now your terror's at an end, disappearing to the wind, never to be seen again. We're wearing idle lies, pretending we're outside. It's not our reflection of what it glorifies. And for now, once the sun comes out, you'll be carbonized. You're making shadow shifts like an incubus. You'll be carbonized. It's alright. I've been talking to my conscience. It's my broken and self-conscious. Training my instincts to be cautious. To remember that you're toxic. We're wearing idle lies, pretending we're outside. It's not a reflection of what I glorify. Carbonize. I looked up to you, but you looked down on them. Predatory through and through, and you call yourself a man. And you call yourself a man. And for now, once the sun comes out, you'll be called. no heroes anymore.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.